A circle full of dogs. We put in a work. Let's go out there with a bunch of crazy dogs.
What's happening, people? Welcome to, another episode of Giants Rush, where we talk Giants football 52 weeks of the year. Plenty to talk about after the Giants got dismantled this weekend by the Philadelphia Eagles. Plenty to talk about. I got Alex on his way. He's running a little bit late. He's playing Papa at home. I got Joker in the building. And, of course, we got our first crack at Zach being our producer. Dude, it's pretty cool because I don't have to do everything. So let me just go on this quick little rant to give you an idea where we're going with this. We're going to talk studs to duds. We're going to talk about bad optics. We're going to be talking the offense and defense, talk about crappy game plans. I see you guys are piling in the room. I see Jay, I see Cold, I see Mark, I see the other Mark, I see you guys are starting to pile in here. What's up, people? Plenty to talk about this week. But I do want to tell you that, like, when you look at Sunday's game, they get beaten down 28-3. AT goes down. The offensive line can't block. The game plan just seemed absolutely like a carbon copy of the Cincinnati game plan. Not a lot of dynamic plays. There's no rollouts. There's no tight end play. There's no screens. There's no jet sweeps. There's no nothing. We're not establishing the run. We're not doing a lot of stuff. Thank you, Bill. I'm glad you like my shirt very much. So there's a lot of things going on in Giants land. But, you know, we're going to get into it and chop it. I want to bring the guys in. I want to read you guys a quick stat real quick just to set the tempo for you guys here so you know exactly what we're talking about. All right. There were sacks. 5 of the 6 sacks were on consecutive series on consecutive series plays. 4 on third down. So when you start like looking at the analytics of what they need to do is they're taking timeouts at inappropriate times because they can't continue drives, right? Like I said, Slayton still not working back to the ball. We still got drops by Wan'Dale Robinson. But the biggest thing that stuck out for me was on the first series, they took sacks, you know, every third down. I mean, that's a huge issue, right? Because we wind up taking timeouts at inappropriate times because we're running out of time the whole time. We don't go hurry up until 2 minutes and we go down the field and we kick a field goal. Why? We have a new left tackle. And we don't go jumbo. We don't go overload. There's plenty of things to talk about. So I'm rambling a little bit. Let's bring in the guys. Let's bring in Sean. What's up, Sean?
Hey, what's going on, Craig?
Well, one, we got the same shirt on.
Not planned. No memo.
No, I mean, it looks better on me than you, but
I fill mine out more.
Well, that just means I'm in better shape because I've got such a
up here though. Up here, barrel chest.
Great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. I mean, look, I know you watched the game. I'm going to rewatch the game tonight.
Yeah.
Plenty to talk about. Let's get Alex in here because Alex has probably already thrown himself off a bridge twice, and that's why he was late to the show. He had to swim back. Alex, what's up?
Yeah, I'm not having fun, man. This is not the kind of Mondays I like having, especially against Philly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll also throw out there. There's nothing. I tweeted this out yesterday. Like, I'm not having fun. I've been ignoring it for a while. I've been kind of putting it off, and we know Chris was always trying to get the old, Giant spirit going. You have no idea what it's like to sit in your home stadium in seats that I pay really good money for, and have 10,000 Eagle fans. EAGLES, Umgats is what I tell you. All over the stadium. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Guys, enough is enough. We've got the opposing teams in our stadium, Alex, embarrassing us on the field and in the stands. It's gone too far. So, with that said, I'm going to start the show off with studs and duds. Zach?
Studs. 2 duds.
So studs and duds is our new segment we're going to start the show off with. We don't really need to talk about studs, guys, because there's only one stud on the team, as Zach just showed you. It's unanimous that the stud and the only exclusive stud is Dexter Lawrence. I'll start with you, Alex. Here's a guy right now on pace for Defensive Player of the Year. He leads the NFL in sacks. The Giants lead the NFL in sacks. What's your opinion on Mr. Lawrence's play?
Yeah, I mean, definitely he has to be the Defensive Player of the Year right now. I think for as bad as this team has been, he's just been such a bright spot in it. And I just was drunk and very mad and went to a very dark spot yesterday as I'm watching the game at the bar. And that was the one bright spot that I had, was let me just watch Dex. He's going to murder 2 dudes right now. And then he had the 2 sacks. That made me feel a little bit better. And a really bad day. But yeah, he's playing better than anybody else right now. He's up there with the TJ Watts, with the Myles Garrett, with all of those guys right now in that same conversation. I think his stats this season show that he should be the front runner for DPOY right now.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. Sean, thoughts on Dexter?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing that's getting overlooked is the rate at which he's getting double teamed as well. He's ridiculously higher than anybody else defensively right now. So he's leading the league in sacks and getting double teamed at an extremely high rate. So yeah, I mean, he's the best defensive player in the league right now based on those stats alone.
Let's not ignore the fact that he's a nose guard. Okay. He's not he's not a defensive end here. What do you call it? Yeah, he is that bright spot. I mean, as Alex was saying, and by the way, in the post game, he always stands up to the crowd, right? He stands up, talks to, he's very respectful to, all the reporters, and I don't know, he is that one bright spot, and he does just murder dudes. I mean, he bench presses the center back into the QB, every few plays. He's making tackles, and if you really get into it, guys, when the Eagles have a big run, he's usually not in the game. They usually if they rotate him out. Yes, yeah. Dexter is a national treasure. You protect him at all costs. Yeah, no doubt. Good guy on the field, off the field, all the way around. I feel we got a bunch of duds. We got one that's definitely more polarizing than most, which is pretty easy. Start with you, Sean. Who's your dud of the week?
I mean, it goes without saying, second week in a row, I'm giving it to Jones. I mean, are there other players that didn't play so well? Whatever. Yeah, but I mean, he's just bad. He's just bad. We're week 7, and there's no hiding. And I've been extremely objective of Jones this entire season, but we're in week 7 and back-to-back weeks where he just can't run an NFL offense. He just can't. He can't make fast enough decisions. He can't anticipate. He looks like, I don't even know a good analogy of what he looks like out there, but whatever it is, he looks like not even a dead fish. A dead fish has more life and energy than he has. So yeah, he's my dud. And people can say I'm piling on, but man, it's deserved. He's just bad. He's just really bad.
It all goes through him. It all goes through him. And when he's the worst he can ever be, then it's going to show way worse than it would any other position.
Yeah.
So Alex, I'm assuming you're on board with your dud would be your dud of the week is Jones.
Just to try and change it up. I felt like we were texting earlier today, and I feel like you might be going on the defensive side of the ball besides Jones, but I'm gonna go just also at the quarterback position. Drew Lock, dud. Like he reminded me so much of the play Jake Fromm. Why isn't Jake Fromm getting any looks? This is why Drew Lock is not starting over Daniel Jones, because Drew Lock is not better than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones can be complete ass. Drew Lock is worse than Daniel Jones, and we got to see that for a very limited amount of action in garbage time where guys weren't really trying to prevent him from doing anything, and he just looked like he was playing blindfolded.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to say this because I'm not proud of this moment that I said this early on, but Sean.
Yeah.
Have I not been saying in our group chat behind the scenes that Drew Lock sucks since the moment they signed him?
Yeah, you said it on the show too a number of times as well. So
here's the interesting thing. Going to throw a curveball at both of you guys. Ready?
yeah.
I don't know if you guys are good baseball players. I'm assuming you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be.
That's what I thought. You definitely can't pick this up on TV. Okay. You have to be live for what I'm going to tell you. Drew Lock still sucks, but the speed, the velocity that the ball comes out of his hand is extremely noticeable. Like, I don't want to admit that because I've been telling you since April that this cat is no good. The guy came in, he fumbled the first play from snap. The second play, he just like threw it. He didn't even care. He was just like, I'm putting it right there. And he was like, bang. Right. And then the third play, he kind of threw the sideline pass to Hyatt, which by the way, hit him in the hands. Tough catch. Don't get me wrong. Wicked tough catch. Wicked tough catch. But it still hit him in the hands. And then he laid on the ground for 13 minutes and cried.
They cracked a rib. So
yeah.
That's not fun.
No, but I'm not shedding any tears for him. My issue is that I swear to you, again, I don't know what it looked like on TV, but the ball comes out of his hand so much faster than Jones, and Lock his ass, like you said, Alex. But I was surprised at the delivery. Like the ball really jumps out of his hand. It's like bang, right? Yes, 100% Mark Thompson. It is a live arm. Like he probably doesn't have the intangibles. He can't run. He definitely isn't tough as Jones. Jones probably throws a better mid-range pass, that 8 yards to 15 yards, right? But Lock can zip it. He definitely can.
Yeah, live arm, no doubt.
Usually.
What's that, Alex?
He's just kind of not accurate, which is pretty important for a quarterback.
100%. Yeah. I'm just saying that watching him throw the ball, it was extremely noticeable live in front of me. I was like, whoa, like you just could see the velocity. Bang. Bang.
Well,
that sucker pops from his hand.
And he hasn't thrown a pass since how long? So, again, I'm not saying he's good, but some of that could be, I
mean, maybe, but that dude's still probably throwing 50 to 150 balls in practice.
Yeah,
he's not just standing around.
So, listen, I'm not comparing these two, but Russell Wilson was doing that, and he looked like ass the first couple drives, and he turned it around. Again, I'm there's no comparison, no mistake what I'm saying, but can we see that he's definitely ass after another drive or two? Because you're right, the arm is live. His mannerisms are different as well. Like the body language is also noticeable.
All right, we're gonna keep rolling so we don't get stuck. So yes, hands down, my dud to finish up the segment is Brian Daboll. As I've said numerous times, we have a stud, we have duds. My dud is Brian Daboll because the game plan was a carbon copy of the Cincinnati game plan. He refuses to establish the run. Tracy didn't get enough carries. And at the end of the day, it's real simple for me. We're struggling to get the ball down the field, transition the ball down the field. So what do when you struggle? You go to screens. You roll the quarterback out and you hit the tight end and the flat, right? Like we're doing nothing dynamic. Like the Eagles heavy loaded the right side and ran Barkley and you went for 52 yards. Because we were confused on an overload. Like, we do nothing. We don't run jet sweep. We don't run reverse. Like, when you're losing games, you get to a point where the head coach goes, F it, I'm going to just pull all the stops out. I'd have Malik Neighbors throw the ball if I had to. Do something that shows me you care. Brian Daboll is my dud of the week. And he actually is my dud back-to-back weeks. I understand you guys want to, go with Jones. But anyway, studs and duds. We'll have another studs and duds next week because there's always somebody good and there's always somebody that plays like crap. So Giants lose 28-3 to Dallas. We want to keep moving. I want to talk about bad optics, gentlemen. Just bad optics, man. Like, it's noticeable. People are talking about it. It's not just me. Carl Banks is talking about it, right? The coach is flipping out on the sideline. The coach is in him. Last week, the position coach got in his ass. And then live during the game on TV, quarterback runs right by this cat and he gives up on the play and lets the quarterback run for another 3-4 yards down the field is Tay Banks. It's bad optics, guys. It's basically showing me you don't care. You don't want to be there. I don't want to hear it's garbage. I don't want to hear none of that. This is football. You got a chance to put a lick on the QB. Put the lick on the QB. Right on, Mark B. Totally inexcusable. And guys, I'm going to just write at you guys. I'm hoping you guys see it the way I do it because it was like I literally saw Henderson, the DB coach, losing his mind on the sidelines, getting in his grill. Alex, I'll start with you. I'm sure you noticed it. People are talking about it. What does this say? What is wrong with Tay Banks? What is happening with this cat?
Obviously, I feel like he thought the game was out of reach at that point. That doesn't really excuse any of it. It's kind of like just giving up on a routine out at first base because you feel like you're just not going to beat the tag or anything like that. Like, even if you don't think you have a shot at it, you still got to go and hustle all the way through the whistle. The big concern I have is like, is he part of like a bigger collective of players that maybe like the locker room is being lost at this point? When you have guys doing that, it's like they don't really care if they're going to get reprimanded by coaching at that point. And that's really what I'm hoping we're avoiding there. I'd like to think that it was just like a 28-3 game and he was just like, F it, man.
Well, I hope you're right and I hope you're wrong because there's two things that go on there. He's a first-round draft pick. He doesn't get to do that. He's got to lead by example, and he had a chance to tattoo Jalen Hurts right there and didn't take it, right?
He would have got a penalty if he had hit him. I think by the time he would have got to Hurts, that would have been a 15
I don't know.
Penalty. So
Maybe.
I think that like right now with all the quarterback protections and stuff like that, like these guys know we can't be laying people out on the sidelines. There was a play like that in the Texans game yesterday. They kind of was the same kind of thing. And it's like, I think that there's guys that are like, all right, well, I'm going to go so not hard on this play because I don't want to get the 15-yard penalty. There's just going to be one more thing in this blowout loss.
You saw in the Chiefs game too. Same thing with Mahomes up the sideline against the Niners.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. So, and that's a bigger point, Alex, is who gets protected and who doesn't. Clearly, on the Jumbotron at the game yesterday, Jones throws a pass to the sideline to might have been the one to Neighbors because Neighbors tried to do that roll that he does, that reverse roll that he does. And Jones got laid out with the ball already out of his hand by 2 seconds. Nothing. So I think it all depends on who the quarterback is. However, let's keep on
I
point.
100% agree.
Let's keep on point that, all right, let's say he doesn't tattoo him. You still got, you're a first-round draft pick. You have to lead by example. And you need to meet that. You need to make that tackle. You need to make that play. You cannot take a play off on national television saying, I don't care because it's 28-3. Sean, bad optics or not?
Yeah, it's bad optics. I mean, you hope now this is the second time that he learns. I mean, he's a young player, and there's young players who make mistakes. Now, if it continues, then yes, it's inexcusable. He's got to make a better play. But let's keep in mind, he's still a young kid. So I'm not ready to give up on him or say anything. If he does it again multiple times, then there's a bigger issue. But he's got to learn. And now you saw again, Henderson got on him. They called him out again. If he does it again, then we have a real issue. But I'm giving him a little bit of a leeway to. He's a young player. Young player do stupid things. They make mistakes. He can't keep doing it. That's my issue. I'm not excusing the play by any stretch. He can't do it, but he's got to learn. Young players learn. They do stupid shit. They do stupid shit.
I really would like to see him lead by example, and that was with this. That's disappointing to me. Was you're a first round pick. You're supposed to set the tone for the DBs. You're supposed to be CB1. And I know he's a young player, but like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know if those are excuses anymore. These guys grow up fast. They're given responsibility quickly. You know, they make their money. They have their brand. Like, they're responsible to do everything else, but what their job is, that rubs me wrong, right? Like, they're on time for photo shoots. They're on time for the club. They're on time to get paid. They're on time for all those ancillary things. Like, this is what you're here to do. Play football. You know what I mean? And
he's got to do it. He's got to learn. So now you hope that now that he's done it, and this is the second time, and it's got made an even bigger deal this time than the first time. Now you can't do it anymore. So now let's see what he learns.
Yeah, hope so. All right. And that's in it. And by the way, it's difficult too, because I pounded the table for this guy. I like him. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted him here. I was like, gotta draft Banks. So for me, I feel, I don't know, I'm disappointed because like he was my guy, right? Like I'm like, I wanted him to come in here and just be the next Mark Collins. You know what I mean? And I'm not seeing it, not feeling it. All right, moving on to something else. I'm looking at my notes here. We talked a little bit about the game plan, guys, and earlier, and I wrote some notes, about what happened in Cincinnati, and then guys, it's happening again. I just don't think the game plan is there. I don't know if the game plan is created by Kafka and then implemented by Dabes, or what the process is from the assistant head coach. But here's something I need to bring your attention to. I saw way too much empty backfield. That's an issue, man. We got a brand new left tackle who shouldn't be there to begin with. Okay. And he's going to need all the help he can get. I got a bunch of empty backfields. Not necessary, right? We don't have enough overload. We don't have chips. We should be chip blocking like crazy to make sure that Azudu gets help, right? That was not part of the game plan. They didn't come out and heavy load up and make sure that cat had help. He shouldn't even be out there to begin with, but we all want to see Evan Neal out there. Don't think the game, I don't know why they went that route, but I don't like the game plan, right? So I got too much empty backfield. I don't have enough chipping from Bellinger and Theo and what's his name? Tight end, big one, blocking tight end.
Theo.
Man, yeah. Right. Then what gets me about this game plan is, what now we're nervous. We don't score. And all of a sudden, right before halftime, we go up tempo. Well, why don't we go up tempo during the game? Why do we have to be in panic mode, right? And we go up tempo, and what happens, Alex? We go right down the field, right? We go right down the field, and then what do? We waste the timeout. We have to kick the ball on third down, and I'm saying, you know what, man? Impose your will on someone with this game plan. Throw the ball in the end zone. Would it have mattered 7 points or 3 points? 7 points would have done a whole lot more for your morale. And then we kick it on third down, right? So if the up-tempo worked to get them down the field, Alex, I don't know. I just don't like the game plan. So I'm handing it to you, Alex. It's your ball. You run with that.
I thought there was just a lot with the game plan, much like the Cincinnati one. It was almost the exact same thing where you're just like, what the hell is going on? Except I felt like they just didn't run the ball at all. I know you had no AT out there, but like, I felt like Tracy's been such a bright spot for this offense in the last 2 weeks. And to have him have, 5-6 carries the whole game? Like, I get that Singletary's back. He's going to eat into those carries, but like give the guy that's kind of been pushing along with your offense, even when he wasn't busting big runs, he was still kind of like a threat. And like you make them have to not just completely play the pass. And Daniel Jones, like when you're just watching Daniel Jones, you know what he's going for. They knew all the routes that we were going to be throwing. They know it's just these little like Wandale's going to get a 2-yard out. Wandale's going to get a slant right here. Like it's a predictable offense, and the Eagles were able to just sit on that. And I was shocked that we didn't just try and run the ball. Even when our running isn't successful, we need to stick with it to make them not just know, okay, well, we'll just shut down Jones and we're good.
I like it. Sean, first play of the game against Cincinnati, quick slant to Slayton for, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 yards. First play of this game, the same slant to Neighbors. So all of a sudden I'm like, did we just say like, all right, that's going to be the first play on the call sheet now, right? Because it worked. Sean, if it works, why not do it on the other side? Slay, who's the weakest of the corners, is on the right-hand side. Why not go at him? Why not drive it down their throat? You know, we talked about, you were talking, good point you made, that guys were open, right? There were guys open. There was one play, Wandale was so open, I could have hit him from my seat. But there's more to it than just being open, right? There's no confusion, right? There's no just like catch them off guard. Like the mismatches, like we're doing nothing. I think they ran in the C gap the entire game. Like I just tell me something that I'm missing, because the game plan was really flat.
In the first part of the game, they came out in 12 personnel. They had a tight end to Zudu's side. I mean, they were chipping, they were doing those things, but you can't come out and play three tight ends and then expect to have any kind of offense going on. Philly was playing zone. They were playing cover 2. Like, you can't run against cover 2. It's a tough defense to run against. Bottom line, right?
But we don't have. Yeah, but
I get they tried it. I get whatever. But you had guys open. You just couldn't make the plays. That's the problem. There's literally like Wandale was open in the not in the flat, but he was like on an out route. Somebody else was open in the flat, and Jones gets a sack. Like, he doesn't understand how to do pre-snap reads and what the coverage is doing. Yes, the O-line did not play the greatest game they've had, but they were still better than what we had last year. And now all those sacks were on the O-line. Like, he had decisions to make. He had guys to throw to. You had Malik Neighbors literally pointing out an open receiver to our friggin' quarterback. I understand, but if you're coming out in 12 personnel and you're doing the things, that's not the problem. I get we needed to run more, but at the same time, here's my theory. We have a $40 million quarterback. Other teams throw the ball 40 plus times. We can't keep hiding the fact of what he is. It's to me, it's obvious that people aren't getting it, whether it's Mara, whether it's other media, whether it's fans. This is putting him on display and saying, he's not the guy, guys. He is not the guy. It's 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. And let's not pretend that Philly wasn't also stacking the box a little bit. They know where Jones is going to throw the ball. They know he's going to throw short. There were guys that literally were open. And you're scheming to get guys open. You're moving Neighbors around. He was in the slot. He was on left. He was on right. They're moving guys around. He just can't make the plays. He can't. Would I like to see him run the ball more? Yes. At the same time, you got to. The defense was giving you the throws. They were taking away the run. They knew that was what was going to happen. Like, I'm just. I get
I'm with you. I'm with you, Jones. Listen, this is two different stories here. Jones sucks. We're over Jones. He can't get it done, right?
But that impacts the rest of what it. Yeah, that impacts the rest.
Of course it does. But this is why I have not. This is like me having a discussion with the fan base. Is okay. We realize that you have to do something about it, because you don't show up. You forfeit. That doesn't happen in the NFL. So what do you do, right? And again, this is right from Carl Banks' mouth. You can go right online and look it up. He said, "I'm watching them play." Bob Papa says they played zone the entire game, which they did. You might have even seen the clip, right? And he said, "I'm watching the DB, like Jones sliding to his left to buy time,
Yep.
right? And the DBs are looking at Jones, and standing right next to them is the wide receiver. In zone, it is your opportunity to break free then and run towards the end zone and let Jones throw you a pass. But they don't. They literally stop running.
Yep. Slayton,
there is-
Hyatt, those
they-
guys. Yeah.
yes,
I said that before.
they
That's why Hyatt
are-
wasn't playing.
They're
don't have that
not
football
good,
IQ.
Sean.
Absolutely.
Again,
I don't disagree. Neighbors is our best receiver by far. Wandale can find the openings in the zone, but I also listen. I know we're over Jones. I get all that, but I think the receivers are over him as well. They're not getting the effort that they should be
They
giving
have
at
to
times
be.
too. They're tired. It
again,
was clear when Neighbors
you-
comes out and says it. Other
Yeah.
people are saying it. Like
No,
they're
but you know what,
tired.
though? Wait.
And
time
I'm
out.
not excusing it, but
That's the point. Though.
they
That's
give
the-
up because they're probably like, look, he's gonna get sacked.
It doesn't
Like,
matter
he doesn't-
anyway.
he can't find us.
If I'm
He
open, he's
can't
not
hit
going to
us.
get it to me.
But that's-
Not excusing it, not
Yes.
excusing it because it's happened
we-
before and they need to be
we-
better at it. But at the same time, listen, not at this level, but I went through it where you just get tired of a quarterback who's bad and you're begging for the other guy to come in, and that's what you want, and your energy lags. It's just hard. It's hard when you
Okay.
know the quarterback as bad as it is.
I 100%
Again,
agree with you.
not at the NFL level, but Division I AA. I had the same problem with quarterbacks, same damn problem. So I know what it's like. Not excusing it, but I can understand where they're coming from.
Starts to
And
creep in
eventually-
at a certain point.
Yeah. You can even see the energy on the whole team. And I know we got to move on past Jones, but it's a bigger issue that's causing other things because the play calling is not looked at as bad if he hits deep throws, if he hits whatever other throw.
Okay, wait.
If
this is
anything
not
else
about
happens.
Jones, though. But you're
Huh?
making it. You're making it too black and white because this is not about Jones. This is about their job. And when you're playing zone, instead of think about what you're saying. Let's say Locke was in there, right? They're still not doing their job. If Locke was in there and they're sitting in a zone,
You haven't seen a
standing
full
next to
game
the
of lock
DB,
in there where they're doing that.
what's
I
that,
agree.
Alex?
They got to get better. They're not their football IQ. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
No, I would say I think that if Locke was doing this week in and week out, that they would have the same kind of mentality with Locke too. It's just that they're like I get it. It is their job, but at a certain point, you're like, cool. I beat my defender. I was wide open. He's not going to give me the ball.
Then you
Doesn't
know
matter.
what?
Like,
Then you gotta. then you gotta
they
blow
just
it
have
all
no
up.
faith in that guy.
I know, but
Yeah.
that's again, I get that, but it's such an excuse for players because here's the thing. If one guy, I do believe Carl Banks is right on. If one guy just says we're in a zone, we're all standing here, Jones is scrambling, I'm going to break for the end zone. Next thing you know, you got a 50-yard touchdown pass. If their IQ's not there, then get them off the field. You
I
need
agree.
somebody to play above the X's and O's. We know the guy sucks. It's so simple to me. If the guy sucks, everybody else has to still do something good. You can't quit because that guy sucks. You can't just say he sucks, so I'm going to suck. You don't understand? That's all I'm saying. I get it. It's hard. I've played, like Sean said, I've played with some guys that drag you down. And again, so you know what? Young cats got to say, I'm making this tackle. I'm making this play. Because if Carl Banks is saying, I'm watching the DBs looking at Jones and the wide receivers are standing right next to the DB, it just takes one guy to have the IQ. And you know what? This is why I'm pissed. Because if this is another franchise, they all break for the end zone until their quarterback to throw it up. Those guys just give up. You're not throwing me the ball. Big thing about Troy Aikman came out this week. He got all over the wide receivers saying, I've never seen wide receivers run such bad routes in my life. I'm kind of paraphrasing there, but he said, He's just like, they don't run good routes.
No, young receivers don't. They don't work on little things. They don't do things like that. And here's what I would like to see. Yeah,
Pretty much.
I would
They
like to
just do
see
the Patrick
Slayton's
Mahomes
ass on the
thing.
bench and give me Hodgins. Put Slayton on the bench. Give me Hodgins. You know he has good hands. You know he's a good route runner. He'll find the holes in the zone. You sacrifice the speed to get guys in there. And I'm over saying at this point, trade him, get a draft pick, do whatever, because you got to have guys that can step up and make plays. Right now, Malik is the only one stepping up making plays. I've been high on Wandale, but he's got to correct the drops. Like he's got to start catching the ball better. Right. But again, if we want to criticize Daboll, that's why I'll criticize him. I don't understand why Slayton continues to play. You're leading the league in drops and you're not making any changes to the wide receiving core.
Absolutely.
I get it. Even with Jones, as bad as he's making some throws, there's other balls that got to be caught. They just got to be caught.
Yeah.
So
And Cole,
make some changes.
Cole, you're right. Sorry, Sean, I didn't mean to step on you.
You're good.
Cole, you're 100% right. He was talking about Dallas specific receivers. I'm saying it's just, it's specifically a trend, right? It's a trend in the NFL. These guys don't run really good routes. Odell Beckham and Sterling Shepard ran great routes. And you need, especially when you're handcuffed or handicapped, you need good route running. Sean just said the guy who runs the best routes can't even get a ball thrown his way. Hodgins is the guy who runs the best routes.
Yeah.
Wandale, you guys, listen, I've come full circle thinking that Wandale is a valuable guy, right? But you just said a minute ago, hey, if Banks does it another time, you gotta have to sit him down. Well, Wandale drops a ball every game. Every game he drops a ball. Like, when does Wandale get to sit down? Like, give Hodgins a chance.
He's got to get a chance over Slayton. Slayton's leading the league in drops. Slayton's got to be the first one to go. You need that short. You need that. What's that?
Wandale's probably right behind him.
I
don't know where he is. But
this team going forward, if you were like, what two receivers do you think are going to be on this team potentially in 3 years? You would say it would be Wandale and Malik, I would imagine, right? Like Slayton, nobody cares. So like Slayton, I can expend Slayton. Like
I don't
Wandale, I get a little bit more leeway because I think he's in the long term. I think he's in the long term plans for Daboll. That's why Daboll keeps using him so much. So I think that, you give Wandale a little bit more leeway until he's had his Darius Slaytons, where like Darius Slayton year in and year out has showed you that, he's going to have some cool plays, but he's going to drop a ball and he is going to motherfuck you when he can, because he just isn't the best guy with hands, and that's going to happen. And I think that Wandale can kind of get that. He can get better at it. He can get better about this.
Wandale is expendable, dude. Wandale. He's expendable.
I mean, he is expendable, but I really think that he fits what Daboll's trying to do with this short passing game. And going forward with you, when you have somebody with like an actual IQ at quarterback, I think that Wandale is going to be a very dangerous piece of this puzzle. He's pretty much like Cooper Kupp, just like the Giants.
Oh my God, you did not.
He's Cole Beasley in this offense. That's what he is. He gets open a lot. The problem is he's got to correct his drops, and he's still a young player. Where Slayton's been doing this every year for 6 years. Like, what Slayton is. Wandale can still get better. He's a guy that gets open. He's had some costly drops, but he still doesn't have the frequency of drops that Slayton has. Like, he is what he is. Enough is enough. So make some changes.
Zach, throw up Cole's comment from 812. Just popped in. Pop that up there. Wandale's an average slot. We need another big-time receiver and move neighbors inside and watch things change. That's the thing. We don't have a legit number two, right? Yep. Wandale's your two, and he's not the cat. He's expendable.
That's what I'm saying. Wandale could be a perfect three if you can put him at the slot, get another guy. Like, we've got plenty of time to do that. We were hoping Hyatt would pan out. That doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But again, like, I'm okay taking the flyer on Hyatt in the third round, where like we expected him to be a first-round guy. Didn't get him in the first or second round. Okay, third round. I don't hate that he didn't work out. I think that he could still be a deep threat if we're not just relying on him to make one play a game. Like if we can rely on him as like a luxury, that would be nice. But
you almost said we're not relying on him to catch the ball.
No, I'm not saying like with the Chiefs, they don't need Xavier Worthy to do anything the whole game, but if he can do like one long catch a game, they're pretty good with Xavier Worthy. If we can get to a point, like, I would love to be like the Chiefs where we're winning regularly, but like, hey, dude, just run a couple goes a game, we'll hit you, and then bam, like, you got an 80-yard touchdown every couple weeks. I'd be fine with Jalen Hyatt being that like fourth guy and everything. I know Xavier Worthy is not a fourth guy, but if he was that dude for us, or Martavis Bryant when he had that run, all those Steelers receivers that had those random runs. Just like, hey, I'm going to run goes every play, and that'll be it. And you'll just hit me a couple times a game.
Deshaun Jackson made a whole career out of being a one-trick pony.
That's absolutely.
Literally made an entire career out of being a one-trick pony. So if Hyatt can work on his hands, get him on some jet sweeps, just utilize his speed, fine, do that. But yeah, I agree. We said it before. We need a wide receiver too. Wandale is the perfect underneath guy. He's wide receiver too because he gets open. And he's the underneath guy, and Jones likes to throw underneath. So he's not a wide receiver two. He's just wide receiver two and catches. Slayton technically is the wide receiver two, and we see what he does. So we need that balance to neighbors. There's no doubt about it. And then you're right, Alex. Wandale's that number 3 that sees the outlet. He's the check down. He's a guy who can make guys miss, and he's not relied upon to. They all know they're going to Wandale now. That's the other problem. He's got guys on his back 90% of the time now when he's trying to make a catch. So
that goes
know.
back to the not using him in a creative way. Wandale comes out, he runs the dig or he runs the curl, and you're like, well, we've seen this on tape for 6 weeks. They need to figure out, get him in the flat, run a screen pass.
They ran a seam with him. They ran a seam with him on that free play, and Jones threw it to him. So
yep, I saw it. I'm just saying,
so
but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like if you got a guy that's shifty like Wandale, you got to package him up a little bit and be like, you know what? Let's try a center screen. Let's try a wide receiver screen. Let's try to do something. Maybe it's a delay, you know, let him chip on the inside and leak him out. Like, I'm sorry. Just because I played Division III football does not mean I can coach NFL football. But God, for the love of God, these guys should be more creative than they are with the personnel they have. Some people, you have no receivers in Kansas City and they're doing just fine. Well, they're building it, but you know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to find things that their talent can do. And I feel like we're trying to stick the talent into what Daboll wants, and it doesn't work.
But you have the talent that fits his system other than the one important position. That's the difference when you talk about what KC's doing. Their quarterback can hit the guys deep. They can make those throws. They can find the guys. They can pre-snap. So he's got the guys that fit his system. Neighbors is Stephon Diggs. Wandale is Cole Beasley. Slayton technically is Gabe Davis or whoever their second guy was at the time, but he's not even in that capacity. So he's finding guys that fit his system. You just have the one guy who is screwing the whole thing up. And it's as simple as that. Simple as that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I wish it was simple. I wish it was simple as
It
that,
is.
but he is the.
I really think it is, man. If Cam Ward right now, you fast forward, you put Cam Ward back there, that we're not having a ton of these problems.
Yeah,
this is a much more competent offense.
You're
put
hoping
any quarterback that's competent back
but you're
there.
hoping. So we're gonna get to that in a second because
Russell Wilson would be better.
That's a different story. We're gonna get to that in a second. All right, the last thing I want to talk from the offensive side of the ball, like we don't even really need to talk about Jones, is the O-line. Guys, the O-line reverted. We lost one guy. The whole line fell apart. They put Azudu over there instead of Neal. I think we're all on the same page that we might want to see the reps from Neal. Can he play it? It's his natural position. Sean, I'll start with you. What do you think went wrong? Why did it go wrong? What do you want to see moving forward?
Yeah, well, I don't want to see a Zudo out there. Give me Hubbard, give me Neal. If you got to move Illumina over to left tackle and put Neal at right tackle, then do that. I get to an extent why they didn't do it. Keep the continuity instead of moving 2 guys or 2 new guys. You only got 1 new guy. So if you're not going to move Illumina, give me either Neal or Hubbard, who's the guy they just signed to put out there. Zudo is not a tackle. He's a guard. I don't get why they continue to keep him out there or leave him out there. He's definitely a guard. I know he's played it before, but he's absolutely guard. But I don't want to see him out there again. I understand some people said he looked like he got a little bit better, but I got zero faith in him at the left tackle spot. So you got to make a change there. You just can't have him out there again.
Go ahead, Alex. What do you think, O-line? Why did it fall apart?
We didn't have Andrew Thomas.
Well, we know that.
That's probably that's the easiest thing. You got to shift people. Like, I didn't expect it to go great. I don't know. I get the Azudu, the idea with Azudu, but like Evan Neal just scares me. And I hope that like Carmen Brasillo, like the turnaround could happen, but still, like, we've seen Evan Neal just be a paper bag, man. And like, I don't want that again. Then you don't
want to see him get any reps at all out there?
I do, but I'm so scared that like once we put that in the chamber and we use the bullet, then like now what? Now we know what it is. He's the same fucking guy. Okay, cool. Now what? And then what do we do? And like, so yeah, I'm a little afraid. I'm a little afraid if I'm being honest with you.
All right, you're a little gun shy.
Kept it in check.
Yeah, you're using all these gun references. Well, so you're a little gun shy, right? I got it, but sooner or later, he's a first round draft pick. You got to see what he can.
You have to.
Cold. Phillips had a injury settlement. Yeah, he had an injury settlement. I don't know if he ever came back. He got mangled up. That's why he's not on the team, because he did play great. All right. I want to bring up something that Belichick said today, that everybody, because we're complaining about, I spelled Barkley wrong. That's my bad.
Who cares?
Yeah, I
it's
was moving
fine.
too fast. So,
He's not
Barkley
on
had
our
a good
team.
Barkley had a good day, and he was, raving on about, he saw people burning his jersey and all this stuff. I just wanted to bring up the Belichick comments because how fans are. We should have not paid Jones and we should have paid Barkley. All this stuff that people want to throw out there. We know Jones ain't the guy. Jones got paid because he was the only guy available after making the playoffs. He was really the only thing you had available to you. You got a playoff win. Kind of made sense. He's not a top 10 paid QB, right? After you watch with the Trevor Lawrence and Goff and these guys are getting paid. But Belichick said today that everyone knew the Eagles were going to pay Barkley. So if that's the case, I mean, I'm not making this. This is what, thank you, Mark. Spell it any way I want, right? Oh, look, you even spelled my name wrong. So we're kind of going on the spelling name wrong thing. It's with an A, Mark, not an E. Alex, what's your take on give me a quick take, 30 seconds on Barkley. Like, if everyone knew the Eagles were going to pay him, was that a moment where the Giants should have said, crap, I don't want him to go to the competitor? Because it seemed like Daboll and Mara were both kind of like, yeah, bring him back, whatever. But it seemed like a Shane thing.
I'm over Barkley, dude. I don't care. I wish him nothing but the worst. But he's over with, man. He was good. We already paid the quarterback. We had to pay him or the quarterback. It didn't work out with the quarterback. We had to throw the tag on him. We could have picked up Jones' 5th-year option, like somebody in the comments said earlier. That would have been the smart decision. They didn't know Jones was going to ball out that last year. They didn't know that he was gonna look competent. So it's the first time I think ever that that somebody's passed up on a quarterback's 5th-year option and then re-signed him with it. I believe that's the only time that's happened, unless it's happened since the Jones thing. When it did happen, that was historic. But you already allotted that money somewhere else. It makes no sense to pay the $40 million quarterback to hand off to a $26 million running back, or whatever Shane said in Hard Knocks. We weren't going to get Barkley. We weren't going to get him crying about it. It's not I don't care. Wait till the high ankle sprain kicks in, and then they'll be like, oh, wow, look at all the guaranteed money. What about you guys?
Sean,
what are your takes?
Yeah, what's your take?
I mean, it was a given he was going to have a good game against us, and it shouldn't change the fact of what was done. Like, he turned down 2 other offers. He was not coming back at the end of this season. Once they told him to go see what your market is, and they handled it the right way. They were very right. But let's not forget the fact he turned down 2 other offers from the Giants because he wanted more money, and he was not coming. He was not coming back. He was not coming. And I don't care what Belichick said. I don't care any of that.
That's what I was going to ask.
Don't care. Yeah, I was
in the
getting to
league
that.
knew he was going to the Eagles.
I don't ever remember hearing that when that was going on. People said it like in the fact of, watch him go to Eagles, but I don't remember everybody knowing for a fact he was going to Eagles.
What I heard.
It was more like, hey, look, he's probably going to end up. Yeah, he's probably going to end up with the Eagles to get back at the Giants, but nobody knew for certain he was going to the Eagles. In fact, there was a report out that said the Bears were going to make him the highest offer, and Philly was out. Like that got tweeted out.
I do remember that.
Yeah, no.
Well, let's keep in mind
also said he also shut down on Illuminor. So I don't know what his deal was today. I watched that whole segment. The fact that he didn't have anything good to say about Illuminor, no. That there's ulterior motive on that one.
Yeah, I don't know why
2 offensive linemen for that.
Yeah. He said a UFA lineman out there. No, there was ulterior motive of why he said what he said. And nobody I didn't get the impression watching Hard Knocks that Daboll wanted to keep him. And it was only Mara and Mara was just unhappy because he was a popular player and he sold all these jerseys and do all these things.
He's an old man. And
yeah.
He's familiar.
Yeah.
With
There's some ulterior motive. And I like Belichick, but that didn't make any sense.
For me, I got to go the opposite route is what we hear is what, like when you kill Daboll in his not you, but when the fans kill Daboll in their press conferences and you try to read into what he's saying and stuff like that. I mean, he's giving you what he wants to give you because he has to be there. right? All the like if Belichick says, I mean, again, we take Belichick as the best coach ever, right? And I'm
Couldn't
pretty
win without
sure
Brady though.
agreed.
Couldn't
We're
beat Eli.
talking about like that 20-year run, you know,
And
15
let's keep in
whatever
mind
years.
the comments came from a man who also made Matt Patricia, who was a defensive coordinator, his offensive coordinator, and made Joe Judge his quarterback coach.
Yeah,
So
I'm not
let's take
talking
what he
about his.
said. No, I know,
I'm
but I'm saying
only
the thought process of what he's commenting on now, let's keep that in mind in perspective. There's some things that he says are questionable. That's my point.
Yeah, it maybe. I mean, yes. I mean, his personnel moves or the Belichick tree, you know, is not there, right? But I don't know. I don't know what he would have to gain by saying everybody knew that the Eagles were going to pay Barkley. That to me sounds like all the
He doesn't have
GMs.
anything to gain. He's a talking head. Like he's just got to fill. Like a lot of times,
But he's
like
not a
what they're
talking head.
saying.
He's different.
He is though. He is. That's the show.
He is
He's
now,
there to
yeah.
fill
He is
time.
now.
So like those are throwaway things you could say that like, hey man, we're filling an hour. You know, like I'm gonna say stuff that sometimes it's just like, hey, okay, it's this thing. Like that doesn't mean it's like 100% set in stone true. Even if it was Bill Belichick saying.
All right, that's fine. I mean, I do look at Bill a little
That's
bit
what
different.
I took from that at least.
No, I
Listen,
appreciate that.
yeah, love Bill.
He also
Absolutely love Bill.
should be the
Love
underdog
Bill.
fantasy guy too. So like I could take
I don't
all
know.
my fantasy
He's
guys
to
from
me,
him,
he's the
too.
best
I
coach
don't.
there ever was. And if that dude's
Yeah.
saying something, it's usually like it's got no filter on it, and he's telling you exactly what he thinks and what he knows because his reputation is that important for him to him not be a talking head. It's a Hall of Fame, you know, 6-time Super Bowl champ. He didn't give a crap about anybody or anyone. He's going to tell you exactly what he knows because he's got no he doesn't care if it's Pat McAfee or not. He's just out there because they look. Bill doesn't need to be on McAfee. McAfee needs Bill. Bill doesn't have to do anything.
What's weird is I think if you look at the two greatest coaches of their times in Saban and Belichick, who have both now gone into being talking heads for ESPN, I think Saban is the guy that is mostly just like he doesn't do the goofing off stuff as much. Like he's sort of tried to do a little bit of it, but like Bill Belichick kind of like has fun a little bit more than I think Saban does. So like I kind of would trust Saban to be being more serious and like about that stuff than Bill Belichick in this. And he's just having fun.
Yeah, he's on that show every week. So again, I trust what Bill says, but that was just weird the way he said it, combined with the other things he said about the Giants players and stuff like that. So that's why it just seemed off to me. Like he says a lot of other great things on that show for sure.
Zach, skipping out that we've already kind of covered that you know there definitely is a hole, you know, with Daboll's play calling. Like there's a definite issue and it's a flaw that 90% of the NFL wants a dynamic tight end and we just won't throw the ball to the tight end. It's a flaw. It is a flaw in the game plan, and no one's going to tell me anything different. It's a
do it
weapon.
in Buffalo either, so we knew this when he came here. And
that's not necessarily true. And Knox had 8 touchdowns, and then they went and drafted Kincaid, who is an offensive threat. So it's not necessarily like I know you're saying that that's not his goal. He wants the yak and the short stuff, right? But this isn't Buffalo, and we
also have a rookie
quarterback.
We have a rookie tight end who did catch a touchdown, by the way, got called back.
He did get a touchdown and was robbed.
And he did throw to him more. So again, like
let's not say more. He's throwing 1 or 2 passes a game. I mean, the tight end should have 6 to 7 targets a game.
Right.
And when you have a flawed wide receiver group, your tight end should be included in the game plan. You're never going to convince me otherwise. I'm looking at tight ends across the league are just crushing
There's only like
it.
a handful of teams that dominate with the tight end.
I didn't say dominate. We don't use them at all.
There's only like a handful of there's only a handful of teams that utilize their tight end a lot.
I'm gonna tell you there are 15 teams that are targeting their tight end 6 to 7 times a game.
Okay, but we have a quarterback who doesn't throw to him because he wasn't trusting him. Remember, Johnson was running the wrong option routes earlier in the year. He's now doing better. He's throwing it more, but Jones doesn't even target other guys. Like he tries to target 2 guys. That's it. So again, like I hear you. I know we like the tight end. We all like tight end. I'm an old school guy. Bavaro, Shockey, all those guys. I'd like to see him involved more. But at the end of the day, I'm just not ready to say it's a Daboll thing. I'm just not. Sorry.
Oh, who calls the freaking plays? I
Who-
mean,
Who executes them though?
Yeah, it's execution. You know how plays are called.
You can call
You
the
know
best
what
plays.
goes
If he
on
can't
there.
get in the ball, it's not
There's
gonna do
no-
anything.
the tight ends
Yeah.
are blocking. They're not in pass routes.
Only
They're
one. They
not-
have
But
two
when they
tight
get
ends.
touchdowns, they get called back.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Johnson's going out, and you have Manhurst blocking. So when you get out of 12 personnel, it's hard to get the tight end involved. But when you're in 12 and you have two tight ends, one's going to block. And then the other
What
guy,
does it
you
look
got to
like
have
on
the quarterback
TV?
look at him. What did Johnson
look
get
like?
targeted in the Minnesota game? Like 5 times, I think. And he had like 4 drops or something like
I'll
that.
look it up. I'll look it up.
So Jones locks in the guys that he trusts. And unfortunately, he's trusting the wrong guys right now. He trusts Slayton. He trusts some other guys. Like he just
Wandale.
doesn't. Yeah.
Let's
Well,
call it what it is. The guy's dropping the ball. Just call it what it is.
he's dropping the ball. I already said it. He's dropping the ball. I already said it. But he's a guy you can normally trust. He's having a rough couple games here. So it is what it is. But again,
What did it look like on TV when they called the touchdown back?
it looked like it should not have been called back.
Should have
Like,
been a touchdown.
yeah.
And then especially because the drive before that, the touchdown, was it Smith that caught the touchdown pass? That they went for it on 4th down, but the play before that that allowed him to set that up, it was like a massive hold against on Burns that they just didn't call, and just nothing got done.
Yeah,
by that. So
I mean,
they
when
were
you-
very picky and choosy. They should have Texas the field. They should have started, like, Giants fans got to start throwing shit on the field, man. Like, we need to take it back. People need to take it back. Okay,
It's because
Just
he's
do
a
what
rookie
UT
and he
did.
doesn't know how to do it the right way. So he's a big
He
dude
could
with
have been a
long
little bit
arms.
better, but they were
Yeah.
both on it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said the announce crew said it shouldn't have been called, but they get why it was called. But it was ticky tack for sure. He's just got
He didn't
he's a
get
rookie. He's got
open
long
because of
arms,
the
big
play
arms,
call.
so it stood out. But he didn't. Yeah, it should have been a touchdown, especially when you see what everybody else does. It's crazy.
All right, I'm moving on. You guys are crazy. Tight end is being ignored. We don't run any screens. We don't run any rollouts. Let's see what I have here. So if I look here, because my man Zach just hooked me up. Zach, which part of that stat? Okay, so I think this is 375 yards for Kittle, Bowers at 477, Kraft at 264, Clement at 290, Pitts at 328, Likely at 207. They have 2 tight ends. Henry at 313, Zach Ertz at 260. What's the last number there? I guess average per catch is what I'm going to guess.
Baltimore's only got 1 wide receiver that's any good. So you're going to have your tight end be, and all those other guys you mentioned they don't have, other than Pitts, those other ones don't really have solid receiver. Vegas, who they just traded their best receiver. They got 0 receivers. So of course Brock Bowers is going to get a lot of yards and targets.
Well, I mean, you're still talking about Kittle. You're still talking about man.
Kittle.
What's the stats on Zach? Throw me the stats on Theo Johnson. What's that, Alex?
We're comparing.
The elite tight ends. Like, there's 3 tight ends, 4 tight ends that, like, you see that production from it. Other than that, it's like look at fantasy football this year. Have you been playing fantasy football? Like, Evan Ingram's been bouncing around in my lineup when he's healthy, and it's like he's mediocre as you can get as a tight end right now. Cole Kmet here, like, hit or miss. Like, they're not regularly seeing guys that are getting 10 targets a game as tight end, other than Travis Kelce, who's not getting that now, George Kittle.
I'm just giving you that at 7 games in the season, there are 10 tight ends with 270 yards plus. Theo Johnson has
that's not a lot. Do the math on that.
That's like, how many 100-yard games is that? That's not that many.
We're not asking for
the majority of their games. They haven't had 100-yard games though. You're making it seem like they're their number 1 guys though.
No,
I know, and we have a rookie tight end.
I'm not. I'm actually not.
We have Malik. We don't need that guy to have that much volume. We're good.
You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. All my point is that because we can't throw the ball anywhere else, we shouldn't be including the tight end. And the tight end, and there are 10 of them I'm looking at right here that have 250 to 400 yards receiving. All I'm saying is the tight end is value, and we're ignoring it because Daboll's game plan sucks. So if we just got used to like finding a way to incorporate the tight end, okay, you guys just want to blame it all
I'm
on
saying
Jones.
this game plan sucks. If you have wide receivers open, game plan does not suck. You need a quarterback that can hit the open receivers. When you start hitting those other throws, other guys are going to open up.
Wrong.
And you can't run screen passes against zone coverage. You run it against blitzing teams, which they did earlier in the year. So the defense is dictating what we're running. And again, we have a quarterback who can't make the plays to open it up. You don't run a screen pass against zone coverage. You run it when they're blitzing. You run it in third and long.
You don't run an empty backfield, and they did.
Do you know how many teams run empty backfields? Now we're complaining about an empty backfield.
That's where you get to play with the narrative. That's where you get to play with the narrative.
Oh
The New
my
York
God.
Giants cannot. The New York Giants can't run an empty backfield. You had a whole left tackle that can't play.
Dude, they ran 12 formation. Look at the numbers in the first half. How many times they ran 12 formation? They only switched out of 12 formation when they got behind in the second half.
Yeah,
I mean, you had a guy over there.
What game were you watching?
Man, I don't know. I think the seats you have live are really blocked off because it's when you watch it on TV, it's a whole different thing. You'll see. And it was commented how many times. Look on Twitter today. They put up the numbers on 12 personnel.
You told me they ran trick plays yesterday. They ran no trick
I've
plays.
said they have run trick plays. They ran a flea flicker, what, a week ago or 2 weeks ago? They ran a flea flicker.
The game plan has no dynamic plays in it. You're throwing to the same two guys with a terrible quarterback. The tight end is a crutch for the quarterback.
They've run jet sweeps. They've run other things. And it doesn't.
When? What game?
What are you talking about? Oh my God.
Weeks ago.
They ran it in the first few weeks. Okay. So the defense is playing cover 2. If you're in cover 2, you don't run a jet sweep.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the game plan is the same game plan they had in Cincinnati, and it didn't work last week. You had 5 freaking runs to the best running back on the team.
Philly ran the same exact defense that Cincy ran. What's the difference? Why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? Say it, Craig. Why didn't it work? If you have the same defense run, why would you change the game plan? Because it's what works against that defense. What didn't work the last 2 weeks? What didn't work the last 2 weeks?
Nothing worked. You lost.
What did? Oh my God. You have guys.
What's the biggest thing that didn't work?
What's the biggest thing that did not work? You had guys open
last week. How many yards did Jones have last week? Did the passing game work last week?
Is that on the play calling or the quarterback? Our quarterback threw for 99 yards, and we're complaining about the play calling. What are we doing here? What are we doing? He threw for 99 yards. And how many attempts? Alex, help me out here. Help me out here.
21 attempts, 14 to 21. He was 14 to 21.
So 21 attempts and threw for 99 yards. That's not the game plan. That's the quarterback.
See, you got it. You're a running back. The whole point is that I'm
a running back and talking about throwing the ball. That didn't go the way you thought.
Jones can't get the guy the ball. None of it matters. Nothing matters.
I'm a running back and not complaining about not running it enough. Like
your
I'm not even complaining about.
Your philosophy is this. Because the quarterback is bad, nothing is going to work. So then why do we show up?
I didn't say nothing's going to work. I'm saying that it's not the play calling, it's the issue. And we're at the point we can't keep masking. We can't keep masking the quarterback's thing because John Mara is not going to see how bad Daniel Jones is.
And again, you need to look past.
Let's see what happens against Pittsburgh. Let's see what happens against Pittsburgh. Let's see what they do.
But I'm going to wrap it up with this. You missed the point. The whole point is that when you have like with anything, if a left tackle is down or your quarterback's not good enough or someone needs help, you change it to find the dynamic way to help. The quarterback cannot.
He did that in 2022, and look what happened. We had to re-sign Daniel Jones for $40 million a year.
What does that have to do with?
Great point.
Because that's the game plan they ran.
And they figured
Joe Shane literally said, "We're not paying our quarterback to hand the ball off. We have to." He literally said on Hard Knocks, "We have to see this year if Daniel Jones is the guy or not." How do you see if he's the guy? You let him do what every other quarterback in the league is doing, throwing the ball,
to the tight end,
throwing the ball. I'm not saying Daboll is perfect. I'm saying that if you want to
Run the
find
ball
out if
5
Jones is the
times?
guy, you're going to run the ball 30 times like they did with Barkley, and then you're still going to have people. You're not going to
Would
know
you
what you
take-
have in a quarterback.
Who's the best running
Would you
back?
take
for the
Daboll
New York
or
Giants?
Jones, Craig? If you had to pick Daboll or Jones, one of them goes, one of them stays. Who you picking?
Daboll.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Because
Leave it
I'm
there.
just tired of the excuses. I already know Jones is bad, so you're going to give him as much help as possible, and they're not giving him enough help to at least try to win the game. You already know Jones is gone, and nobody gives a crap about Jones, but you want to win on Sunday.
But the old man that owns the team doesn't know that Jones that could be what Sean was putting. Like the old man that doesn't know the team that was going to cry and then offer you a medium Pepsi because he wanted Saquon to be in the Ring of Honor one day. Like that guy is who they're being like, no, this is that guy. This is that guy that can't do that thing. They have to show the old man like you were wrong on this. Okay, we're gonna not keep him.
We literally with better
no man
quarterbacks.
send me some rings.
Yeah, we could have 4 or 5 wins because
Right.
he missed throws. Like we weren't talking about play calling against Seattle. It's the same game plan on Seattle. The difference, Jones made throws. He hit the deep ball. I mean, that's all I'm saying. I don't want us to muddy the water with now all of a sudden Daboll is the issue. It's not. He's not the issue.
Outside of Jones, Daboll is the biggest problem on the offense.
That's okay. We can agree to disagree.
We can agree to disagree, right? We got the wrong guy playing left tackle. I got no Hodgins in the game. We don't really have a tight end. Oh, your boy Tracy didn't even get a carry. Your boy Tracy didn't even get in the game. He proved himself that he could be a star.
He started the game.
I'm being facetious on
I
you.
know.
He started the game. You know what I mean? Like
there's
no reason why Tracy didn't get 15 carries, 10 carries. Nope. We're not going to do that.
They're playing cover 2. They played zone the entire game.
Yep. All right. Then anybody who plays zone in the NFL doesn't run the ball?
If you complete the passes, then you can run the ball. They never did anything to get them out of the defense they were running, Craig. That's the issue. If you don't have a quarterback who can make plays to make the defense change, you're not going to be able to do what you want to do.
They didn't have to change. They never had to change because he never beat him.
They literally didn't play any other defense but zone. Tell me another defensive in any other game. Tell me when a defense has never got out of zone coverage an entire game. What does that tell you? What does that tell you?
We already covered the fact that it's not just Jones, though. We just talked about Carl Banks telling you the wide receivers aren't doing anything.
I understand that. That's how many times did he scramble? Like 3 times in that game? 3 times they scrambled. But other time they had guys open. Literally, Malik Neighbors pointed to Darius Slayton and Daniel Jones couldn't hit him wide open in the middle with nobody around him. Do I think Slayton should have caught the ball? Yes, I do, but it was still a very bad throw.
No, it was a horrible throw.
Yeah, horrible throw. But it's something he could have caught it.
Neighbors pointed out to wide open receivers.
Exactly. So if you're not making the plays, if you're not making the throws, you give the defense it's the same thing that happened last year. Look at the Seattle game. Seattle didn't come out of the same defense the entire game. The entire game. It's the same shit. If you don't have a quarterback, who can make the plays, make the defense change, then there's no reason for the defense to come out of it.
What you're saying is that the coaches who get paid aren't going to scheme up something different to help them create space. All you're saying is
you had space and you had guys open. That's the part we're not getting.
Weren't even trying to get open or dropping balls. It's Jones is the major part of the problem, but the coaches have nothing but that guy, and there's nothing you can do. You guys just want to complain that we should quit because it's the quarterback, and I'm saying no. Wait, hang on. I'm saying is then figure it out. Figure something else out.
What if
millions
of
dollars?
We quit because it's the quarterback and we get the first overall draft pick? Then what? Then is it worth it? Because it might be.
Great segue, which is a great segue because what I'm going to ask you guys is what makes the difference right now is 2 questions, and then we're going to wrap this up because you guys are so wrong that nobody wants to hear you guys anymore. That was a joke. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I
think we got to get Craig on meds.
Well, again, I put a lot of onus on the fact that like you get paid a lot of money not to just carbon cut your game plan and go, well, they're in cover 2, so we can't do nothing. So I just put a lot more emphasis on figuring it out when your quarterback's hampered. Who starts next week, Alex? Locke or Jones? We know
you already
who's going
said
to start.
Jones.
What do you want to do?
Yeah. I think at this point we're gonna just I'm going full tank mode. Like I didn't want to get to that point this early, but like if you want to lose, Drew Lock seemed like the guy from his limited action.
You don't think
Daniel
he has
Jones,
any chance of getting better?
I mean, like I don't know. Like just if I would like to see Tommy DeVito. I would like to see Tommy DeVito selfishly. Bring me the Italian. Give me the Italian. He was maybe nowhere near the best guy, but he was fun. He gave us a little bit of fun when we were really sad last year.
Won 3 games.
Just give me a little bit of that. Just give me a little bit of make Sundays fun for a couple more times this year where I don't just hate it, right? Like that's the worst part about Sundays. Like I just dread Sundays.
Wouldn't that be fun again? Little fun? Alex,
Italian jokes to our friends. Like I like doing that. That was a fun part of last year. Bring that back.
Yeah. And the whole cutlets thing and the mom making his bed.
Up to me, Tommy DeVito gets the start. I don't think that's got no chance he sees the field this week. But I think it's going to be Daniel Jones and maybe Drew Lock if it gets really bad.
All right, what do you want, Sean? Who do you want to start on Sunday?
Listen, I give me half and half of Lock and DeVito. Let him play half a game and see what goes on there. I to Alex's point, I need some more excitement. I need to see the team lively. We saw last year that with DeVito and Tyrod, the team had more energy. Like, just give me more energy from the team. And at this point, you know, if you want to think who gives us the best chance to lose games right now, it's Daniel Jones. So I just want to see something different. I want to see some energy. Exactly. Like, at least make it fun. Like, if you're going to lose, make it fun and give me some energy. I just can't do it anymore. I just can't. We're going to have to, but yeah, that arm, like we talked at the beginning of the show, Craig, like Locke's arm is just, it's live. Like it flies out of there. And he has some confidence to him. Give me 2 quarterbacks that have confidence to them, that come out, whether they play bad or play good, they still are confident. It doesn't matter to them. That's what I want to see. So, but give me the Italian. Heck with it.
All right. Cold. I would love a fullback. We had some fun with that, right? Earlier in the year about the fullback. Anything that's going to give these guys an edge, because I think Tracy's a pretty good back. We're kind of digressing there for a moment, but I threw that up on the screen because I saw Cole was talking about the fullback. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys rant and rave on this. I'm going to give you this, though. Howie Roseman is the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles. I call it being a boss because that guy can do anything he wants. He signs anybody he wants. There was tampering issues with Barkley, and it just went away. Like, the guy almost seems like he plays by a different set of rules. So this is the only thing I personally want to see.
Win a lot of Super Bowls then, huh?
What's that?
No.
I think you're right. They got 1 Super Bowl on the road, but
okay, it's not
just
a lot,
talking.
But
I'm not talking about the past because I'm just saying right now, the last handful. I think he's been the GM for maybe 10 or 11 years. He's been able to do stuff. Yeah, one.
Okay.
Then we could just keep going where we want, but I don't think that's what the Giants need to do. The Giants need to make a really big move, right? And you can sign Ward, or draft Ward, you can drive Beck or whoever your guy is, Milrow, right? And you don't know if they're going to be any good. They may be a bust, and we're still talking about this next year. I would just really, really like it just to say forget it and go out there and trade for a legit quarterback. And I don't care what it takes. Just want to turn the team around and then draft your guy and let them have somebody, groom a guy. Like we did with Kerry Collins, what we did with Kurt Warner, and you go out and you go get Dak Prescott, you go get Kirk Cousins, you go get a Carr, you go get somebody, Stafford, that can actually play, that can stand up to Daboll and say, that's not going to work, and actually have a guy sit here and participate in building the next quarterback.
Snuck that in. He snuck that in with Daboll. Stand up to Daboll.
Oh no, I meant that sincerely.
Those guys are under contract for 4 years.
You're not. Did you hear me?
Did
you hear me? I'm talking about a trade. I'm talking about the Giants trading for a quarterback and giving up picks, because all we do is go, next year we're going to have picks, and then it doesn't work out. And you guys will continue to do the same whiny thing, not you, just the fan base, whining about the next year's quarterback. We've been doing it for 6 years, right? Bring a guy in here that can play the game. A guy that can, actually win games, and then let him groom Ward or Dart or Beck or Milrow or whoever it is, right? Like, I know Colt's saying that, it's, I don't know, they're having a little fun in there about it's got to be a white guy or something. I don't care. I'm just saying that right now, like, just do what it takes to turn the team around. Because otherwise you're looking at another 3 years. Another 3 years. So make a trade so a guy can start 2025 and groom the kid. What's very consistent? Quarterbacks with not a lot of experience, quarterbacks that come into the NFL expected to run a franchise and be a leader of men, and they're not ready. Thoughts?
To be clear, are you talking an in-season trade or off-season trade?
Either. I don't really have the preference.
Not in season. In season would not make any sense to it.
Yeah, I'm not talking. Yeah, I'm just talking about
they're not going on a run.
Yeah. We're not going on a run. We're not pushing for a playoff to bring up. I'm just talking
then
about
at that point you tank and you draft. Like I don't.
But that
I don't care. And if we somehow win, it does mean something because you get.
So you want Jones to be
you want
Jones to teach this guy.
I don't know. Daniel Jones is not on this roster. We get the money. We get a significant amount of his contract back if we cut him after this season, which we will do.
And who's the quarterback for next year?
Who you draft? You draft Daboll. You get Daboll and Shane to draft their future quarterback because they will then get an opportunity to have their quarterback for at least 2 years before then they get fired because that's the one thing they haven't had the opportunity to do. Like, if you're going to be bad this year, be really bad. And then if you're not bad enough to get the first overall pick and you really want somebody, who cares, man? Give up whatever you got to get.
What if he doesn't work out?
Do the Eli. Then you're right back where you are, dude. Like, go in and sign Russell Wilson. That's not going to win us a Super Bowl. Doing all this other stuff's not. We do have to be there because we have to be bad enough to get somebody good. Like, we had to be 4-12 to get Eli. We're going to be bad this year. We got to just be bad enough to get a Cam Ward or a Beck or a Shador or whoever Daboll and Shane think is the guy. And just, we got to trust in those guys and not F it up this time.
I'm not willing to be bad another 3 years. Go ahead, Sean. I do, but
we're not going to be bad. We would just be bad this year, and then we're good next year. CJ Stroud thing.
Dude,
do that.
By the way,
next year.
that is lightning in a bottle. It's never happened. It's never happened. It's totally lightning in a bottle. That is the outlier of outliers with CJ Stroud. And the guy was quarterback. And he averaged 33 times per game passing. Lightning in a bottle, dude.
I mean, you see it 2 years in a row. That's the problem. Jane Daniels doing now. But again, you got to see what they do over a 3-year period. But I'm all for bringing a vet in as to get there and then draft a quarterback. It's easy to do. And then you got time to let that guy develop or get there. So if you want to bring in a vet, to me, say what you want to say, but this team is literally a quarterback away from being in contention and winning this division right now. So give me a vet quarterback.
If that was the case, which I don't think you're far off, we can really compete with a legit QB, right?
Yeah.
And why don't you push your chips to the table and go get them? Do whatever it takes.
I mean, I'd be all for that and trying to do that. I don't know if we can do it now at 2-5. I don't know if you can run the table. Can we run the table? Maybe.
Well, look, the division's not very strong.
Who are you going to be able to get right now? That's the problem. Like, you can't get a vet right now that's going to get that gets us what we need to get. Like, you're not going to get a Kirk Cousins right now. You're not going to get a Matthew Stafford right now, I don't think. You're not going to get any of those other guys you mentioned. So that's the issue.
Realistically, we don't know any of that, right? We don't know what anybody would trade or not trade. Right, we just don't know.
But like, you're not going to learn a playbook in 3 weeks and be able to like turn this whole thing around. Like the Josh Dobb thing we saw, that was like you had a limited playbook for like 2 weeks with him, and then it fell apart.
No, we're talking about legit.
There's nobody. Yeah, nobody's going to be traded like that though. So like that's, I think, wishful thinking.
Yeah, but you legit can look at the wins and losses. The Look at the losses we had this year and think about quarterback play and those things. And we, at minimum, would have 4 wins right now. At minimum, more than likely 5. We'd be 5-2 right now. That's legit. That's legit.
Which is
Would
you
you
know,
give 2 third rounds for Geno Smith? What would you get for Geno Smith? I'm trying to think of somebody. I don't think they'd move Geno right now, but like somebody would be Geno Smith caliber would be what we would be getting. And what would you give up for that right now? Because they're going to want as much as they can get in the middle of the season. They're going to basically tank their season to do that. Like,
yeah, I don't think.
Would you think?
Why did you go to Geno?
Because I figured that's probably about the caliber you'd be able to get from somebody. Like if the Seahawks were like, we're probably going to need a quarterback in the next year or so. Like we could trade up with the Giants and do this. Like, but you're not going to trade a first round for Geno. You're not going to trade a first round for Kirk Cousins. I'm not.
The Falcons are sitting on Penix. So you're going to say Penix is because Kirk Cousins is lighting it up. You're telling me that like Penix would have to sit for another year. Kirk Cousins is the guy.
I'd look at
Penix.
I would look at
Aaron
Penix.
Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. It was like the whole thing like that. Like I could see Penix just sitting forever too. I could see Penix sitting for a while.
You don't like Penix?
No, I just think that they could be
He's
a
too old to
situation where we
sit that
pay this
long.
guy so much. I don't think it matters. I think he's under contracted until.
No, he's making the point that the guy came out of school at 22, 23 years old because he was in a league 5 years.
24, he was 24 when he came out. So if he sits for a while, he's going to be 30 by the time he starts. I don't know. You can let him sit for that long. But I think Stafford is a realistic option because the Rams are trying to recoup their draft picks that they gave up all those years to win the Super Bowl. So Stafford could be a realistic option.
Stafford, though?
I mean, listen, if I gotta give up a first round pick for Matthew Stafford, I'm okay giving that up. I don't know if that's what it takes, but I'm okay with that because you're gonna get that. Now, I'd be also okay giving up Azeez Ojulari for Matthew Stafford as well. So
that's not I don't think that's a fair trade.
I'm just saying. Well, they may. I mean, they may needing a pass rusher. That dude can pass rush. So
cooking over there. Can you imagine?
I know,
dude. I love it. But I'm just like, I'm not sure Matthew Stafford and Azeez Ojulari are in the same ballpark.
I mean, again, if the Rams think they're out of it, they could look to move on and get their draft picks. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it's more realistic than the other options we put out there because again, they need draft picks. And they've said as much. So
where is the guy Drew said that they tried to trade Stafford last year and couldn't find a match. I mean, again, if that's true, which I don't know why he would say it if it wasn't. I trust Drew. Probably is a lot, there is probably some talk out there that, hey, we're really kind of in a hole, right? I mean, I still think Kirk Cousins would be the guy because Penix is already in uniform. Like they want to start the guy they drafted in the first round. But, Dak Prescott, I don't care. Carr, draft the guy. I mean, trade for the guy. Draft your QB.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't want to wait 3 years.
I mean, I'm all right with that option because again, I think there's legit only 3 quarterbacks in this year's draft that are worth anything that you can develop and make into something. So get a vet guy. I mean, we've seen it work before. We've talked about Collins on here a number of times. Kerry Collins when we got him. We had Kurt Warner who came in and held the door for a few games before Eli took over. So it's not, again, it's not out of the realm of possibility. And you look at this roster, the talent is there. You need somebody who can lead these guys because it's a young team. So you need somebody who can motivate these guys, lead these guys. And we don't have that. We do not have it. Yeah. And Kirk Cousins, I think, is a great one too, because he's got that swag that players are going to like no matter how old, no matter what age they are. So
Cousins.
Yeah. Cousins would be great. I don't know that Atlanta will trade him, but I think Stafford is the most realistic trade option, and I think he can come out and do some good things. I don't know if he fits what Daboll wants to do, but again, I'm
think he runs enough.
Yeah, I don't think he runs enough. That's the only issue.
I don't think Kirk would be a good fit either.
He can run more than Stafford though, can he? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
he's got a little more.
I don't know. He just had that Achilles tendon surgery. I don't know if he's considered a mobile guy. Dak.
Jameis. Get Jameis. What would you give for Jameis if we could get
nothing?
Jameis?
A cardboard box.
I would love Jameis.
Oh my God.
Jameis would be the vibe.
As crazy as it sounds, I mean, just I don't know. It depends on what our long-term goal is. Like, I don't know. You got guys,
Have
if you
fun.
wait and see him come in. I mean,
I'm subscribing to the fact that, you know, I don't know. We have different opinion on college quarterbacks because there's guys that, you know, you can look at the guy who has the most efficiency, the most yards, the most touchdowns. Like, they're all over the map. If you look at the top 10 guys, they're all over the map. No one's in the number one spot for more than one category, right? One guy's efficiency, one guy's yards, one guy's touchdown. They're all over the map. And even the kid, like LSU is turning into like quarterback U right now. And this kid's popping all over the map, but he's got 1 year of starting eligibility under his belt. Those guys always Haskins, Trubisky, these guys don't make it when they
Stroud.
only start 1 year. What's that, Alex?
CJ Stroud.
Stroud started
Jaden
more than 1 year.
Daniels.
Daniel
Jaden
started
Daniels
for
was
both of them.
hurt. So he was hurt. He was hurt. But I guess he started for Arizona State. Fair.
Yeah. You know, I'm just saying, when you lump all these guys together, right, and you looked at they started their senior year of high school and then they started their junior year of college, it's tough for those guys to make it. You know, I don't know about Mariota, if Mariota Jay was a 1 year guy, but
I think he is. But draft Ward, get Mariota to come in, kind of like they did with Ritter in Atlanta. But Ward will be better than Ritter. I would be fine with a situation like that. They're similar style quarterbacks that you could run the same, kind of plays with, kind of like Tyrod did with Daniel.
There you go. That's cold. That's exactly what I'm saying.
yeah,
You know, Mahomes, 2.5 years of starting. Like, the guys who start in college can lead men in the NFL level. I love the kid from LSU, but Daniel started. Cole says he's got 55 starts. Like, that's where you want to go. The kid that again, LSU's turning into this factory for quarterbacks, but that kid's only got 6 starts under his belt, right?
But here's the thing about that kid. His dad played in the NFL. His dad's a current quarterback coach. So those are guys that can break the trend of not starting more than 1 year because they have a different mindset. So that's the only caveat I would put to Nussmeier.
No, that's a great, by the way, that's a great point that you just brought up. Kudos. That's why you get paid the big bucks, because, you know, I said that about Drake May. I'm like, you know, Drake May's the second, you know, he's the second generation QB going back to play where his dad played. Like, some of those things come into play, right? I would have never thought about it until you just said it. And I think you told me last week about it, but reiterating, like, most of these guys that don't have the experience don't make great. Actually, and look, it took Goff 2 teams. It took Baker Mayfield 3 teams. You know, sometimes these guys need Darnold, who is a free agent, by the way, but I can't see
like 3 or 4 teams, right?
Yeah, I don't see the Vikings, because you don't know how McCarthy's going to heal. I don't know if that the Vikings would want to let Darnold go, right? Because you don't know what JJ is going to be when he comes back after surgery.
Yeah.
And Hooker is not the guy. So stop talking about that one too, because the guy's never played. He hasn't played in 2 years, right? We need a guy that can play football on the NFL level. I don't care. Dak Prescott doesn't even take sacks. Guy never gets sacked. You know, like, all these guys can play. What's that? You hate Dak?
I hate the fact we're talking about a Cowboys quarterback. That's how bad our quarterback situation is. We're talking about a current Cowboys player. Can we move past Dak? Can we move past Dak?
Well,
I'd be like talking about like Jalen Hurts right now.
Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Carr, Cousins, and Stafford are the only ones. What's that? Because he's black. What does that have to do with him? Cole, stop messing around.
I don't see color.
Here's the question. I wonder, and listen, I'm not high on him, but I'm wonder, because he fits what Daboll wants to do. He's got a strong arm. He's fast as shit. I wonder if Daboll could develop Justin Fields. I really do. And I was never high on Justin Fields at all, but you saw what he did in Pittsburgh. He led him to a 4-2 record. Yes, Wilson makes that offense definitely better, but I wonder if Daboll could develop him. I really do. It's a question. And again, I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying he's the guy to come in, but I'm wondering, because I wasn't high on Fields, but he showed some more things in Pittsburgh. And the guy can run. Like, he can run. He's fast as shit. And that seems to be working in the NFL right now.
Or the other way around, they keep him, right? They keep him and they give him back his job and they get rid of Wilson. Because,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yep.
Because I mean, if you're Pittsburgh, I think you'd want Justin Fields to be the guy, not Russell Wilson.
You would
Didn't
think.
look at last night.
I mean,
Yeah.
Tomlin is very high on Russell Wilson. He said as much. They were talking all last night. So I don't know. Again, it's just throwing a different option out there to consider of wondering, can he
Mark
develop
Thompson
him?
says he doesn't like Fields because he doesn't see the field real well. It's possible. I haven't watched enough of him play.
It is ironic with his last name being Fields.
Yeah.
But
But again, he was making plays with that Pittsburgh team, and he was making plays with his legs. I think he's got to improve on his passing. So that's why I'm asking, like, can Daboll develop a guy like that? He took DeVito, who I know a lot of people were shitting on him in the comments, but he took an undrafted free agent that was on the practice squad and got him to win 3 NFL games. Say what you want to say, but the dude won 3 NFL games last year, and he played well enough to win. So it's he didn't have to have game-winning drives or whatever else. It's good enough to win.
I don't have an issue with Fields. I mean, then you're like, oh, he's on his 3rd team. Like sometimes these guys, like maybe they mentally, maybe, hey, I'm on my 3rd team. Maybe that kills his confidence. I wouldn't want to see that. I mean, he's a crazy athlete, and I think if they just work with him, like you said, if he's got the right coach to kind of help him, because I mean, look at poor Bryce Young. That poor cat got no help at all.
Yeah.
So I guess the moral of the story is that there's got to be someone out there. The Giants shouldn't have to wait another 3 years. I love, Alex, your enthusiasm about, you bring in whoever it is. I think there's 5 guys they're going to get going the first round. I just do, because of what happened last year.
3 or 4 dudes that are probably going to be good. So
yeah. I'm not saying
I think
good.
Ward
I'm just
is
saying
the best of the bunch. I don't trust Beck 100%. I don't think Beck fits what Daboll wants to do, but they needed an opportunity to get a guy that they trust. I think if you can get a young guy, like, it's obviously you're going all in on a young guy, but like, give Daboll and Shane that opportunity. And like, I trust them. They were the guys, they were part of the team that looked at Josh Allen and turned Josh on and what he was. And he was looked at as a bum. Like, a lot of people were like, yeah, that guy, he's just a fluky offense at Wyoming. He's never going to pan out to anything. And Josh Allen is probably top 2, 3 MVP candidates right now. Like, he's year in, year out. Daboll was a lot of the reason of that. So I think that Daboll can make that work. Just give him his chance to pick his guy.
He was high on Daniels.
If McDermott got fired, then maybe we can trade for him.
Right?
I don't know. I just, man, at the end of the day, like I said, I watch these moves that Howie Roseman makes. I'm like, how the heck does he do that? We never do anything like that. Like, just give me a big blockbuster trade. Go get me Justin Fields, and I don't care. But just, why do I have to go another damn day with freaking Jones? Like, it's just, I'm just over it.
John Mara. That's why.
Yeah, I don't.
That's why.
I don't know.
I mean,
he was getting signed after a playoff run anyway, so it didn't matter.
I mean, I get it, but if you listen to everything that John Mara said and how many times he said the things, hey, we didn't do right by that kid, we didn't set that kid up for success, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's got a soft spot for the kid. There's no doubt about it.
But if you don't win the playoffs, he doesn't come back. If you don't go to the playoffs, he doesn't come back. He was a playoff winning quarterback.
I agree. Nobody saw him regressing the way that he's regressed the last 2 years.
100%.
Nobody saw that. Nobody saw it. You can say he wasn't going to be great. You can say he wasn't going to be elite, but nobody thought he was going to be a bottom tier quarterback regressing. You thought maybe middle of the pack, maybe top 20, 25, or top 20. I mean, nobody saw him regressing to what he is or isn't right now. I don't buy it.
Yeah. And
hell, if he plays average against Cincinnati, they win that game. He just had to play average. He literally just had to play average. Sorry.
And he runs the RPO. So, like, and he's tough as nails. So they calculate that into the mix. Like all the guys that we're talking about, like, none of them are really that style, right? Cousins, maybe Dak. I don't know. Dak's not really much of a runner either.
Dak's not happening. Dak's not going to happen.
Yeah, he's not a runner. I mean, you got to look at the guy. Yeah, none of the guys we talked about are that style.
I mean, Stafford's not really a runner, I mean, Carr could probably move a little bit, but I don't see him as Yeah,
better
but he's
than
just
the other
he's not 6'4", 230 pounds and can take a
Right.
linebacker around. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting what happens moving forward. So again, guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in. The preview show, if you guys are, you got some extra time, preview show will be on Wednesday. They were reviewing the Pittsburgh game. The Giants play the Steelers in Pittsburgh this week. I'm not sure if Spartan Mike got rid of his tickets. So if you guys are looking for tickets, you might want to hit up Spartan Mike because he did have a pair and then could no longer go. Make sure you're following the team. If you guys aren't following the team on Twitter, make sure you're following Alex and Sean and Spartan and the Truth. Make sure you're following those guys. Always appreciate you guys. A lot of good heated comments. Some of this stuff, we just debating the debate. Some of it's like I had someone today get upset on Twitter, and it's just losing brings out the worst in everybody. And by the way, yes, Dr. Greg, Joe Flacco, he's out there and he's winning games. So who knows what's going to happen, moving forward. Whatever does happen, I just don't want to really wait another 3 years to be good.
Agreed.
So, yeah. We will see you guys next Monday, same time. Still trying to get Dottino or Dunleavy maybe available next week. They baseball's happening right here in New York right now, so there's a lot going on.
Are we doing a Monday show
Yankees.
with the Giants being on Monday Night Football?
That's a great question. We don't normally do that. We usually move it to Tuesday, so we'll bring the powers to be. We'll vote on what you guys want to do. We don't want to get you guys, I'm sure you want to watch the game in misery. I don't know. Alex, can the Giants beat the Steelers?
Yes. Somehow, if everybody on the Steelers gets hurt.
Depends on which Giants team shows up. If you have the same team that played against like Seattle and Washington, yes, they can. But if you have the team that showed up against Cincy and Philadelphia, no, it's going to be a long night.
And remember, we lost Cincy and Dallas by only, a couple points. The only game we really got this past week was the only day they really got blown out in.
Minnesota week 1.
Yeah, I think I blocked that one out, Alex. I think I've wiped that one off the planet because we all calculated that as a win. But hey, guys, really appreciate all the support you guys give us. NYGiantsRush.com got interviews up there. We got to get some articles up there. We haven't really done too much of that lately, but the store is up there. You guys were commenting about that. Studs and Duds next week will be fun because we're hoping to pull a win off and surprise Pittsburgh. Maybe Russell Wilson will cry and we'll Dexter be in his grill all day. So who knows what happens, but whatever does happen, if Jones is the quarterback, we could be in for a long day, or I don't know. The guy plays good on the road, so you never know what happens. The guy cannot. I don't think the guy's thrown a touchdown pass at home in forever. So
yeah, 6 games. So we got two things working. He's good on the road, but he's not good in prime time. So we got an on-road prime time game. So stay tuned.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We're out. We ran long, but we had to vent a little bit, and still love for all you guys. We'll see you guys next week.